Dvaipayanath Anavaraha Mahitve Tasya Dehajaha Sarva Atmana Sritaha Krishnam Tat Parana Cha Api Anuvrataha Dvaipayanadhanavaro Mahitvetasya dehajaha Sarvatmana sritaha Krishnam Tatparamschapi anuvrataha Dvaipayanadhanavaro Mahitvetasya dehajaha Sarvatmana sritaha Krishnam Tatparamschapi anuvrataha Dvaipayanadhanavaro Mahitvetasya dehajaha Sarvatmana sritaha Krishnam Tatparamschapi anuvrataha
Dvaipanad anabraha Mahitvetasya dehaja Sarvatmana striya Krishna Tat paramschapi anuvrata
Dvaipayanad anavaro Mahitvetasya dehaja Sarvatmana sritaha Krishnam Tatparamschapi anuvrataha Dvaipayanad anavaro Mahitvetasya dehaja Sarvatmana sritaha Krishnam Tatparamschapi anuvrataha
Dvaipanad anavaro Mahitvetasya dehaja Sarvatmanam sritam Krishnam Tatparam cha api anuvratam
Others.
Mahitvetasya dehaja Sarvatmana sritaha Krishnam Tatparamschapi anuvrataha
Dvaipayanad anavaro
Mahitvetasya dehaja
Sarvatmana sritaha Krishnam Tatparamschapi anuvrataha
Dvaipayanad anavaro Mahitvetasya dehaja Sarvatmana sritaha Krishnam Tatparamschapi anuvrataha
Dvaipayanath from Vyasadeva. Anavaraha in no way inferior. Mahitve in greatness. Tasya his Vyasas Dehajaha born of his body. Sarva Atmana with all his heart. Shritaha took shelter, Krishnam, Lord Krishna, Tatparan, those devoted to him, Cha, and Api, also, Anuvrataha, followed. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Vidura was born from the body of Vyasadeva and was not less than he. Thus he accepted the lotus feet of Lord Krishna wholeheartedly and was attached to his devotees. The history of Vidura is that he was born of a Shudra mother, but his seminal father was Vyasadeva. Thus he was not less than Vyasadeva in any respect, since he was born of a great father who was supposed to be an incarnation of Narayan and who composed all the Vedic literature. Vidura was also a great personality. He accepted Krishna as his worshipable Lord and followed his instructions wholeheartedly. Om Jnanatirmirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Dharapatakalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavam Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathantam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Sha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanda Radha Kanda Namosute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vansha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhayevascha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namaha Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshakarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Dvaipayanadhanavaro mahitve tasya dehajaha sarvatmanashritaha krishnam tatparamscha anuvrata. Sarvatmanashritaha is so much important than to take shelter of Lord Krishna wholeheartedly. Means no reservation, no confusion. Whether he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead or no need to explain anybody if somebody asks the question, because it becomes so much integrated in the person's psyche through mind, words and activities that it becomes completely uncontroversial in taking shelter of Lord Krishna. Sarvatmanaya sharanam sharanyam gato mutkundam parirati krityam. Similarly, if we imbibe this process of wholeheartedly surrendering to Lord Krishna, then it is the perfection of the devotee. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says about the 6 requirements to become Sarvatmana Saranam Sharanam. Sarvatmana means wholeheartedly. There is no reservation. What are the 6 things required for this Sharanagati? Wholehearted. We had a seminar last year, right? Anybody remember? Anukulasya sankalpa pratikulasya varjanam rakshati iti vishvasa goptutre varanam tatha Atmanikshepa karpanyam Shadiviti Sharanagati. So, now, if you analyze each and every item, that 6 items which are prerequisites to be qualified as fully surrendered, Vidur had no problem. We have problems. We came from completely an opposite characteristic. But nonetheless, Sharanagati and the principles of Sharanagati to Lord Shri Krishna still remains the same. You cannot take a little liberty or excuses that this is Kali Yuga, my dear Lord. Can you ease a little bit? No, process is easy, but Sharanagati is difficult. And that difficulty we have to muster upon. We have to conquer. And that is also, without association of devotees, you can't do it alone. Everything is facilitated which was available easily in Satya Yuga or in Treta Yuga, or say 10 times better situation in Dwapar Yuga. That can be understood. But for Sharanagati, they will have to also go through grilling exercises. If you live for 100,000 years and you are told to Sharanagati, become Sharanagati, totally, how much austerity you have to do. You can't pass time just like idle. We have short life, yet we want to pass time without any understanding of consequences that will follow. We waste time. The time is so precious in Kali Yuga that we can't waste it. And we are not born of Vyasadeva. Even though Vidur was born from a Shudrani, a maid servant, it did not matter. Because the potency of Vyasadeva would go. So he was not less than Vyasadeva. He knew all the Vedic literature, the purpose of the Vedic literature, and he knew. So he did not have any difficulty in becoming totally surrendered soul. His demeanor is worth looking into. Yesterday we came to know about the insult that Duryodhana implicated on him, and how did he behave? If we are insulted or cornered or, yes, it is easy. Okay, I'm not attached. That should be the behavior. So who are we going to be attached then? Well, if we give up negative attachment and accept the positive attachment to Lord Sri Krishna, then there is always a compensation. There is nothing lost in our life. Right? To negate the negativity, but without accepting the positivity, how can we remain fulfilled and undisturbed to whatever happens? That is the character of Vidura. The partiality and conspiracy and all other things, these are material nature and they are against the principle of Krishna consciousness. So they will have difficulty in taking shelter, those who are not following. What are we learning from the examples of so many devotees and great Mahajans? That their lifestyle was not that easy to imitate. Only he could do it. We say, oh, they are the examples of bygone ages. We need a current example. But why do you need a current example? Everybody goes through the ordeal according to the type, place and circumstances that they have to face it. Who is not facing a bugle of war? A war of within, not outside war. Right? The war within, conflict within. So these principles are very, very important that we have to follow. Mahajano inagatasya pantha. You might call, oh, Vidura, how come he is not a Mahajan? But he is Dharmaraj, he is a Mahajan. So what will be the difference between Vidur and Yamaraj, Dharmaraj? What will be the difference between Vidur and Yudhishthir? What will be the difference between Yaksha and Yudhishthir or Vidur? They are all three of the same brand, only in different shapes and different character. But they are all surrendered souls too. And therefore, even an Yaksha can ask so many questions to understand how much surrendered soul one is. If Arjuna would have been totally surrendered soul from the very beginning, he was not supposed to be qualified to hear Bhagavad Gita. Krishna told him because he was confused, because he was not that surrendered. He took Krishna to be an ordinary friend. Of course, he regrets it. That's fine. But that is the sign of acknowledgement that Lord Shri Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He was thinking that, oh, he is my friend. So the familiarity of the external feature does not qualify one to become a pure devotee. In the Shastras, Puranas, there are so many great personalities who were deformed, like Ashtavakra. He was bent on 8 sides. We used to learn this lesson in early childhood in Gujarati. It is funny. Then one camel came in the assembly of so many other animals, as if they were having some kind of conference. Now, animal life means one who looks from the bodily conception of life, right? So this camel started saying, "Unt kahe asabhama, waka angwala bunda." Bhutalama Pashu Pakshi Aparche. He started enumerating each and every animal assembled there and find out where he was bent, where the crookedness was in the body. He was, he said, oh, the tiger has his nails which are, curved and bright. They are not straight like ours. Then the dog has a tail which is always curved. You can't straighten it up. Alright? So a little fox hearing, he said, my dear sir, you have enumerated fault in everyone, but can you count your faults? How many you have? You are bent on 18 sides. So the idea is that we try to estimate, even in devotional life, about the crookedness from external point of view, crookedness from mental point of view. That is very detrimental. Never think or act in such a way that will jeopardize the integrity of devotional service of a devotee. We have to look into how much devotional service is performed. If the activity is not of a category of devotional service, then there is a process, but you can't take the command of exercising the correction in your own hands. We should act in a very prudent way. Prudent way means intellectually balanced between material and spiritual. Right? So, Vidurji, is exalted because of being born of Vyasadeva. And because Vyasadeva was fully surrendered to Lord Shri Krishna, Vidur also remained fully surrendered to Krishna. And one who is surrendered to Krishna, then he will work for devotees and not for himself. So therefore he was more inclined to serve his devotees. To service of the devotees that Vidurji did for the Pandavas. You can enumerate. Even in incognito, Vidurji would save the Pandavas from the house of lack. Because he knew. He was an insider, what they call today. He was an insider. He lives in the house of Kaurava, but lives for the benefit of Pandavas. That's a good spy. Devotees always remain concerned about how the activity of outside may inflict in running our Krishna conscious center. One has to take it for very important service. He can inform Prabhu. We need to make adjustments. We need to correct. Otherwise, these things will hamper our progress. So, Vidur's aspects of helping all the Pandavas when they were exiled. He was their well-wisher in their absence. When they were exiled, he was remaining well-wisher. So nobody could suspect him that Vidur is saving. Duryodhana could not understand how that the Pandavas became, came out safe from the fire of house of lac. It is a very volatile, burning house. It's not a constructing material, but it is nothing but today's polymer resin, directly coming from the wood. You mix with some soil and it becomes a nice putty, and then you can shape up. And Mayadana made it, Laksaguru. Right? The demons are very expert in making these tricky arrangements, and Duryodhana engaged, right, this demon to take revenge upon. So, but Vidur knew, and so he also trickily got the tunnels made to escape. And neither Mayadana knew about it, nor Duryodhana. So on the pretext of picnic, Pandavas were lured into this, spot called Lakshadru, and they were happily sleeping after enjoying the full days of activities. The Kauravas trickily escaped, and before they leave, they set up fire, and everybody was sleeping. This was a very treacherous game to hurt the devotees. But Vidurji helped them to escape. And from that time onwards, the incognito period starts. So a true well-wisher, who can be a well-wisher? A well-wisher is called Suridam. Right? Krishna is well-wisher sitting in everyone's heart. Suridam sarva bhutanam gyatvam shantim richati. So Suridam means well-wisher. He's a kind of friend, but always work for the welfare of these devotees. He is not an ordinary friend. A well-wisher is not an ordinary friend. He is the most beneficiary to this friend. Alright? So the friend gets all the benefits from his service. So who can be more benefactor for the beneficiaries called Pandavas? Vidurji was there. There was nobody other than Vidurji. If you see Dronacharya and Bhishma Pitama, both were, compassionate by heart, but they would not do much for the well-wishing aspect. They were not the men of action. Rather, they were playing their own role to keep shut up even when Draupadi was disrobed. Wouldn't say anything. There are reasons for such behavior. It does not disqualify them to be devotee, but they did nothing against the Pandavas. They both perfectly knew about the mercy of the Lord, and they will come and save Draupadi. So their maunam means silence, and tolerating this insult even though they were displeased at heart, but they played such an important role to expedite